Welcome to the Transportation Sales Tax Program. We're going to be talking about Bees Ferry Road and the improvements that are being made here. And we want you to take a look at some of the things that are going on. It's an interesting project and one that's really going to be helpful to the community, and it's going to make driving in this area a lot more safe. We want you to stay with us. We'll be right back and talk about Bees Ferry Road on your Transportation Sales Tax Program in just a moment. Welcome back to the Transportation Sales Tax Program. We're talking about Bees Ferry Road, as I promised. I want you to remember now that Bees Ferry Road is one of those projects that we call bonded projects, and there are about 12 of them. It's a large project, and it's going to take a little time to complete, but not a lot of time. My guest today is Chris Wood, and he is the construction manager for this project, and we're going to get into some of the details of what's going on to make these improvements. Chris, welcome to our program. It's so nice having you again.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Tell me, what is going on here? We see a part of the road that looks like it's unfinished. It looks like the other part still needs to be worked on. How are you going to be doing this? Are you going to be moving back and forth on this project or what?
We are. The project has several phases in it to lessen the impacts to the commuting public. We're working on phase one at this time, trying to get 2 new lanes constructed with concrete curb and gutter and sidewalk in hopes of shifting traffic to that phase and moving to the secondary side of the project.
That makes it easier for travelers too, I would imagine, if you're moving back and forth and you're not taking the whole road apart.
It does, and it makes it safer too, that we can work away from the traveling public and stay safe for the construction workers as well.
For those who have never been out here or don't remember how this road was constructed earlier, it was what, a 2-lane road, or what kind of highway was it?
Yes, it's a 2-lane road with some turn lanes at certain intersections, but it will be is a 4-lane road with a landscape median with left and right turn lanes at the intersections, which will improve traffic flow greatly.
The project started in when?
Started in January of 2012.
And when do you think it'll be finished?
It should be finished per contract duration of April 2014.
Now you're going to be laying a lot of asphalt in this area eventually, and there's quite a few miles involved. Do you have any idea as to how many miles are involved?
The project's 4.5 miles from US 17 down to Highway 61.
And you'll continue to work on completing this entire project within the next, what, 2 years, year and a half or so?
Yeah, it's we're down to about a year and a half left on the contract. So,
before we started this project, what was it like in this area? Did you find that, or those who studied all of this, and this is the only question I want to ask you in this area, but was there a lot of traffic flowing through here, or are we preparing for the future of this road because of the growth in the community? Sort of what's going on here that caused us to come into this area? It is a part of the city of Charleston.
Yes, there's quite a few neighborhoods that are along Bees Ferry Road. In addition to, I think you get some commuters that travel southbound on 17. So in the mornings and afternoon, I think the roadway experienced quite a bit of traffic, and this will definitely improve the flow of traffic in the morning and afternoon time periods.
The drainage in this area, it would seem that that would be an important factor, and you're working on that, I would assume.
It is. It's one of the first things that we started with. We began with earthwork and placing new fill, and followed up with there's actually 50,000 lineal foot of drainage pipe to put on this project. We're approximately 1/3 complete at this time. But that's a lot of pipe to put in the ground. The benefits of that is it's a little bit of more of a clean system, given that the rainfall is captured by the curb and gutters and directed to an underground storage system. So there's less maintenance with open ditch lines, or less open ditch lines. So it's less maintenance and a little bit of a cleaner appearance.
Now there wasn't standing water out here like we see on some other roads. Was there? What caused us to need to work on the drainage part of it? I want to know, was it because of the rain or was it because of some other factor
Well, one feature,
that was involved?
One feature that you gain from going to a closed drainage system and underground
Yeah.
pipe is less impacts with the right-of-way. It takes less room to create a curb and gutter section with drainage underneath the sidewalks than to create a safe shoulder and slope that leads to a drainage ditch. So you save on the area of impact with that type of a design.
So we shouldn't see standing water as we do in some parts of Charleston, the city of Charleston. I know that's a big problem for us here in the city.
Yeah, we don't anticipate with the grades that we have on this project that we'll have any troubles, especially on the roadway, with any standing water. There are some low-lying grounds along Bees Ferry Road that have special considerations made with wetlands and to maintain those features. But those have all been considered in the design.
I would imagine. And when you mentioned wetlands, this area is sort of it's got a lot of wetlands out here, and patches or places, and all of that has been taken care of. And so for the conservationists who worry about our wetlands and our trees and all of that's been taken under consideration in the planning, hasn't it?
Yes, the proper procedures with planning and development have been followed in generating this design for the project.
And we've got to say this because I know there are people who are always concerned, and that's good, concerned about the trees. There are a lot of beautiful trees in this area, and I want to know, how did this project accommodate those trees?
Well, we mitigated tree impacts by planting so many trees per amount of or number of trees that we took out. We also made special provisions for certain trees to protect them by placing fencing material and other things to make sure that they don't get damaged during construction activities.
And we haven't forgotten about the bikers and the walkers and people who enjoy just being a part of this beautiful environment. And we'll talk with you about that in just a moment, so please don't go away. Welcome back to Transportation Sales Tax Program. I'm talking with Chris Wood, and he is construction manager for this project. I want to remind you that this is one of the bonded projects. There are about 12 of them, and many of them are already being worked on. Some are still under design, and there's still other activities that surround them that have to be taken care of before the actual building begins. But this one's well on its way, and he's CEI too, which means construction, engineering, and inspection. So he's making sure this is done right, and it is. It's a gorgeous project that you have here. And one of the things that I like the most are the sidewalks. And they seem wide enough and nice enough for people to walk, to ride their bikes. And that's something that Charleston is really trying to do. It's trying to connect people by way of walking and riding and make this really an environmental town. And that's a part of this project. Sidewalks.
It is. This project's 4.5 miles long, like you mentioned, and there's sidewalks on the right-hand side of the project from Highway 17 all the way to 61. And on the left-hand side of the project, there's a 10-foot multi-use path that'll be asphalt pavement, but then we'll facilitate biking activities and jogging activities as well.
Now, will this meet the road? There's some bicycle paths that are literally in the road, and some are elevated to an extent because they're sidewalks. Is this one a part of the road, or is this a part of the sidewalk?
Yep. The sidewalks on the right-hand side of the project are pretty much set up for pedestrian movement only. The multi-use path on the left-hand side will facilitate, as I mentioned, bikers and runners, and it will be offset from the roadway, so it will be out of traffic by, separated by the curb and gutter system and or some of the grass shoulder.
There's a new intersection that's going in, or at least intersection improvements. Tell us about that.
Well, there's several intersection improvements with mast arm signals. There's the primary intersection improvement is at US 17, where we've realigned that intersection and placed a signal at that location. we'll get improved traffic flow there and also improved safety.
You know, I hear this word, mast, and then arm, and I've always been curious. I want to hear it from an engineer. What does that mean exactly?
It means that the signal lights are suspended over the roadway with the use of a structural steel mast that is a little cleaner looking system. It may cost a little bit more, but it has a better appearance than the standard strain pole, which uses a wire configuration.
It now extends out into the highway or into the road.
Correct.
Is that a problem for trucks?
No, the height clearances are designed to cater to the truck
Or
movements.
buses not a problem for them as well?
That's correct. It's all designed accordingly.
There's some beautification that's going on out here too.
There is. There's a landscape median which varies in width, 15 to 20 foot in width. It'll be a planted landscape median. That median will house left-hand turn movements at some locations and then widen out to the full configuration to have trees and plants.
I've been working with and talking with people who make asphalt. So we're interested in asphalt,
Okay.
and I know that there's going to be quite a bit of asphalt laid here, and it's going to go the entire extension or extent of the project. And at what point does that come? Does the weather depend on it?
Well, the weather does control the ability to pave, that's for sure. The first step in this process, now that we have curb and gutter in primarily in phase one, the next step is to place a cement stabilized aggregate base course,
Aggregate.
which is approximately 8 inches in depth. And then the next step will be to place the intermediate asphalt course. And once that is placed, we'll be able to shift traffic onto that new pavement. It's not the final pavement surface, but it will function temporarily while we build the other half of the project. And then the last step will be to place the final surface course and open the project completely.
And all of this entire, 4 miles?
4.5 miles.
This entire length, the entire length of this project is going to get new asphalt.
Correct.
Is that the idea?
It will.
Now, when do you go into the striping and all of that kind of thing? When does that come in?
Well, there's temporary striping with the phase changes throughout the construction of the project, and you have to do that to control traffic so that you can build the project. Once you have it in its final configuration, you once again do temporary striping to delineate the travel ways, and then finally, before the project's opened up, we do a thermoplastic striping, which helps the driver see at night.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Bring it on down to the average person, and that helps the driver, and it helps walkers. I mean, is there any way that it just helps anybody and everybody that's involved with this road?
It does. It helps all users see better with the thermoplastic paint. The crosswalks are done in that material. It has a glass bead that has high reflectivity, so it acts almost as a reflector when lights shine on it. So it delineates the walkways, the travelways on the project. So it makes for a safer project.
Chris, you know, I've been trying to bring technology into all of these projects and to let the public know that what we do here is really a high standard of activity and of research and of bringing the best products into these highways and these roadways. And a lot of that we have to attribute, you know, you may not want to go into this, but a lot of this we have to attribute to technology and understanding how things work and what's in them.
That's true. The industry evolves